So this is the hobble belt, yeah, and this is how it would be used, how it would be configured on a horse or some other animal like a cattle, just to restrict it, to hobble it. So you'd have your stockman be out in the bush, out in the cattle station. You'd want to stop, maybe spend the night, boil a billy, have some tea. We'd put this on the front end of his horse, a little bit higher up. Fortunately, I don't have a horse, so I can't really show you. And that would hobble the horse. So you could have a kip, do whatever. When he wakes up, his horse not really going to go that far because it can't run anywhere. It can just walk quite slowly or hobble around. And this is really quite a uniquely Australian bit of sort of bush history. There's a very strong kind of bush leather tradition in Australia. This is really a bit of Australiana, really. I haven't seen these made anywhere else, any other part of the world, in America or Argentinian gauchos or English drovers or anything like that. It's a uniquely Australian invention. Probably back in the day, 19th century, some stockman came up with this idea. It caught on, all his mates did it, and then it became something everybody was doing, and they were well used up until the 1950s by stockmen. A lot of stockmen now are on motorized transport, okay, so the horses are less important for people on cattle stations and stuff like that. This one's made by myself, okay. This one's quite a large size. This is a size 50, so it's quite a large size. And it has a double tongue buckle on it. That's a little bit unusual. Historically, all the ones that I've seen have been a single tongue. Just the customer liked this buckle, so I did it like that. But they all have this in common. If you look at some of the old ones, some of the historical ones, some are hand sewn, some use rivets exactly the same as these. Some have a circle piece of metal, some have a slightly square shape, slight variations in design. But you just have those two passes that allow you to do this, and it allows you to hobble an animal, okay. With the traditional design, some of them have, usually here, a knife sheath, okay, for a slip joint knife sewn into it like that. And there's really, as well as the hobble belt, there's a couple other pieces of leathercraft with belts that are uniquely Australian, really. There's a really rich sort of leathercraft tradition in Australia, and a really kind of rich bush history and bush law kind of history. And the three belts that you would usually find traditionally stockmen use, okay, and stockmen weren't all Europeans. A lot of them were indigenous Australians as well. Some of the best stockmen apparently were indigenous Australians. They were great horsemen. But there was three traditional types of belt that stockmen would use. There would be this, which is a hobble belt. There was what was called the stockman's belt, which was just a regular belt but would have the knife thing on it. And then there was the braided belt, which I don't have. So there's a braided belt which was braided with kangaroo, quite similar way to how they do the whips, the braided kangaroo whips. That's maybe something I want to get into in the future. But made by myself, just wanted to share the story of the hobble belt, of something that is quite a uniquely Australian piece of leather gear. If you do research hobble belts in the present day, you will find them mainly used for human bondage, for people who are into stuff that's a little bit kinky. That's where the main market is now. The main market isn't stockmen, alright, using them out in the bush. But I suppose that is how the world has changed.